Two candidates, two different policy positions. We've got the records and the facts. We've sorted through all the mess and propaganda. Let's talk about Harris, Trump, and the Supreme Court. The third most important issue to Americans this election has to do with Supreme Court appointments. Now, there wasn't a single question about this, and you'll see why in a moment. There were a handful of references and mentions of the Supreme Court and their rulings in response to other questions, but there was never a question about the Supreme Court. Why is that? Well, for two reasons. The first reason is that the Supreme Court has been a deterrent to the Biden-Harris administration, and thank God for that. They struck down the student loan forgiveness program. They restrained the tyranny of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. 2 years ago, they ruled that the Biden-Harris administration must enforce Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. They blocked the Department of Labor's vaccine mandate. They've protected Second Amendment rights. They got rid of Chevron deference, which will limit the power of federal agencies. And oh yeah, they overturned Roe v. Wade. And there's more, but you get the point. The Biden-Harris administration has been stifled by one of our co-equal branches of government. It's called checks and balances. Second, in addition to those legal deterrents, their rulings have discredited the insurrection charge against Trump in more than one case, one regarding immunity and the other on electoral disqualification. They have reserved his position on the presidential ballot. They have protected states like Arizona in tightening up their election processes so as to ensure election integrity. And they've declined to intervene in legal disputes regarding Trump's taxes and business records, and I'm certain they'll be involved in the eventual appeal of this case in New York, the campaign finance case. Now, you put all of that together, and you've got a major political party who is really unhappy with the legal sandwich they've been served. On one side, you've got these men and women in black robes standing in their way, and on the other side, you've got the same group tearing down their efforts to destroy Donald Trump. So, what do you do if you don't want to eat that sandwich? Well, it's three things rolled into one. They call it Supreme Court reform, but by that they mean instituting term limits, ethics codes and regulations, and the big juicy one is packing the court or adding justices or expanding the court. One of the best ways you can help our show, other than by sharing today's content, is by picking up some We the Free merch at WeTheFreeShow.com. You can be the salt and light you were meant to be by wearing the Salt and Light shirt or by sipping your coffee from the Salt and Light mug, or you can sport the God Bless America shirt and the We the Free crest tee. We've got stickers and a Smells Like Freedom candle, so check out our merch today at WeTheFreeShow.com. Kamala's campaign website reads the following because she finally added some policy positions. Vice President Harris believes that no one is above the law. She'll fight to ensure that no former president has immunity for crimes committed while in the White House. She will also support common sense Supreme Court reforms, like requiring justices to comply with ethics rules that other federal judges are bound by and imposing term limits to address the crisis of confidence facing the Supreme Court. Their outspoken plan was reported by Reuters this summer before Biden was dumped. They said, Biden called on Congress to pass binding and enforceable rules that would require the justices to disclose gifts, refrain from public political activity, and recuse themselves from cases in which they or their spouses have financial or other conflicts of interest. He also urged the adoption of an 18-year term limit for the justices who currently serve life tenures. Biden and Harris have, since 2020, avoided answering the question of, do you support expanding the court? In their first campaign together, they basically said, we'll answer the question after the election. Before joining forces, Kamala is the one recorded saying she's open to the idea. Elizabeth Warren views expansion of the court as necessary to restore balance to the court. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says the same thing to restore fairness. Ed Markey, another Democrat senator, actually introduced legislation to expand the justice count from 9 to 13 because we must protect democracy. The Constitution does not specify a number of justices for the Supreme Court, which the framers and founders did create. They left that up to Congress. In 1789, they established 6 justices. However, the court has had 9 justices since 1869. In order to change everything, Congress has to pass a bill and the president has to approve it. If the president vetoes the bill and it returns to Congress, they can pass a bill without him with a 2/3 majority vote. So that means something like 67 senators out of 100 and 290 representatives out of 435 could pass the bill. In other words, it's very unlikely to happen. That's why the Supreme Court has had its current makeup for 155 years. Thanks for watching today. Listen, I want to make sure that you stay informed on the news and the biblical response to it. So do yourself and us a favor and hit the subscribe button before you go. And then we would love for you to check out WeTheFreeShow.com to grab yourself some merch to spread the word about We The Free. And we're also going to put a video on the screen right now that we think you'll like. Now, go and be that salt and light, and we'll see you next time.